All right, we are live. Hey, how is it going? Lee Hayward here with a live video Q&A for Friday, May 28th. And today is another tea with Lee, but it's a nice sunny day outside, so I'm having myself an iced tea. So I'm having myself a sugar-free iced tea with Lee today. That's the that's what I'm having. Wasn't in the mood for a hot tea today, so I'm having an iced tea. Hopefully that's fine with you. Quite refreshing indeed. All right, so who's tuning in? Welcome to the chat. If you're a regular, I want to welcome you back. If you're brand new, I want to welcome you to the chat for the first time and just give you a little overview of how these live video chats work. I'm going to be hanging out here for the next little while I'm drinking my tea. And until my tea is gone, I'm going to be hanging out here and just having a chat with you, answering any questions that you want to talk about with regards to building muscle, losing fat, getting in shape, anything in particular with regards to workouts, nutrition, supplementation, whatever. If you have any questions, feel free to type those into our chat window there, and I'll do the best I can to help you out over the course of our chat today. And again, if you're a regular coming back, I want to welcome you back. If you're brand new, let me know. Type in the letter R if you're a regular, and type in the letter N if you're new. Just let me know if you're a regular or if you're new to the chat, because I just want to kind of get an idea. I do recognize some of the regular names there joining in already. And again, post any questions or topics of discussion. Lots of regulars. Okay. Do we have any newbies? If this is my invitation for anyone who's new. If you have a question, I will give your question top priority, right? For any new people who want to ask any questions today, I'll give it top priority and make sure that it gets covered before the chat is done. So if you type a letter N and a question, you'll get your questions answered. Okay, we do have some newbies in there. New to the chat, that is. I'm not necessarily saying newbies as in new to working out, or although you may be, I don't know. But we have others 14. We have Vile S joining in who are new. We have Garrett's joining in who's new. Welcome to the chat, guys. Always glad to have new people joining in. The more the merrier. All right. Well, let's get this thing underway. All right. Now, before I get into answering questions and stuff, I just want to kind of give you a little update of something that I'm planning on doing. Summer is just around the corner, right? Here we are at the end of May. Rolling into June, school season's coming to a close, all that. So summer is just around the corner. And this is the time when a lot of people want to focus on fat loss, right? Like ideally, if you wanted to be ripped for summer, you should have been focusing on it earlier. But you know the way things is. A lot of people kind of procrastinate and everything else. So what I'm planning on doing, and I actually just made a post about this on my Facebook page today, I'm planning on running another Lose Your Gut challenge. And if you're a regular to follow my content, regular to the Total Fitness Bodybuilding channel, regular to my content, or maybe you're subscribed to my email newsletter and stuff like that, you've probably heard about these 5-day Lose Your Gut challenges before. And I'm in the process now of putting together another one. If I get enough interest, I'm going to go ahead and launch a 5-day Lose Your Gut challenge, which is going to be basically a summer shred edition of the 5-day Lose Your Gut challenge. And to let you know, if you're not familiar with what this is, the 5-day Lose Your Gut challenge, it's a 5-day virtual coaching program where I'm going to take you through in real time all the skills and tactics and strategies and mindsets that you'll need in order to transform your body and lose the gut, build lean muscle, and get in shape while enjoying the process. And this is a virtual coaching program that I do over on Facebook. It is we set up a private coaching community, and every day I'm in there doing live videos, providing all the tools. Like you'll get a sample meal plan to follow along with, live video coaching, live Q&A every day, and a lot of interaction to help you when it comes to mapping out a sustainable eating and fat loss program so that you can lose the gut, build lean muscle, get in shape, and sustain it. And we've had hundreds of guys go through these challenges. Like I've ran several of them over the past several years. And the feedback that I get from them has been off the charts. Like a lot of guys have made some amazing progress by going through the Lose Your Gut challenge. And I actually recognize here in the chat window, several of the guys who are tuning in live right now have gone through the Lose Your Gut challenge. One person in particular, Jeff Lombard, myself and Jeff, we did an interview, a Zoom call, and recorded it and uploaded it to YouTube there not too long ago. I mean, Jeff has went through the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge, and over the course of his fat loss journey, he's lost over 100 pounds. Now, I mean, obviously he didn't do that in 5 days, but that was what started the whole transformation, was going through that, getting the education, getting the skills and the tactics, and then he took that stuff, applied it, and he's made an amazing fat loss transformation because of it. And I recognize Dario, another guy. Dario's been making some amazing progress. He went through our last Lose Your Gut Challenge, and he's done quite well with it as well. Who else is tuned in that's went through a Lose Your Gut Challenge? In fact, if you have gone through the Lose Your Gut Challenge, type it into the chat window there, because I know a lot of the regulars have already gone through those. And that's something that I'm in the process now. I'm quite confident that it will go ahead. But again, I'm putting out the feeder post, if you will, putting it out there to just see if there's enough interest. And if we get enough guys who are interested, then I will go ahead and put off the challenge. And just to let you know, the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge, it is a free challenge, right? All I ask is that you commit yourself for 5 days. You show up, commit yourself, give it 100% for 5 days. And I'm telling you, you will be blown away by first what you get out of it, and then the tools, the tactics, and the strategies, and the stuff that you can apply afterwards. I mean, it is really a game changer. Of all the things that I've done, this is hands down probably one of the most successful programs, because it's an interactive virtual coaching program where you're in there with a community of like-minded people, and you have that feedback and the support. And the cool thing about the Lose Your Gut Challenge is there's accountability built in, because every single day throughout the challenge, you have accountability tasks that you must do by the end of the day. Failure to do your task, you get booted out of the challenge. So each day, like the way it works, every morning I'm going to do live video coaching. And during that live video coaching, I'm going to give you your accountability task of the day. And then each evening, I'm going to go in and check and see who's done their accountability task that day, because you have to post about it in the group. If you haven't done your accountability task, you get kicked out of the group. So very often we start off, a lot of people going through the challenge. By the end of it, probably we're down to like half the people, because, you know, obviously most people don't do anything. That's just procrastination. That's just the way it is when it comes to fitness and nutrition. Like, how many people do you know join the gym and never go? How many people start a diet only to quit? Same thing with the Lose Your Gut Challenge. How many people start the challenge only to quit? So I have this built-in accountability where if you don't follow through, I boot you out of the challenge. And I do that with the intentions of tough love, because I want you to actually participate. I don't want to boot people from the challenge, but if you're not going to participate, then I am going to boot you, because I'm not wasting my time with tire kickers. So that's the way it is. And that whole interaction, it gets you off your ass and actually taking action. And by taking those small, simple action steps, and just to put your mind at ease, these accountability tasks, they're not something that are, it's not like I'm asking you to do 100 push-ups, or it's not like I'm asking you to go run a marathon or anything like that. They're a very small accountability task. Like, I'm talking ridiculously small. When you see the accountability tasks, and people have gone through the challenge before, you know what I'm talking about. They are ridiculously small, but they do stretch you outside your comfort zone just a little bit. And that little stretch outside the comfort zone, that's where you need to be in order to make change. Because if you always stay stuck in your little comfort zone bubble, you're never going to change. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And if you can just step outside, even if it's just a little bit outside the comfort zone, and just stretch that comfort zone a little bit, that's where you can make progress. That's the growth zone. That's where we want to be. Just gently encouraging you to do a little bit more, to push yourself just a little bit, to become the best version of you. And that's the whole idea of the Lose Your Gut Challenge and the community that we got around it. And again, it's one of those things. It's something I really enjoy doing. It's a heck of a lot of work on my part, and I have a whole team of people help me run the challenge, because they do get quite intensive and quite involved. But I'm looking forward to doing it again. So if you're interested in that, what you have to do, follow me over on Facebook, because that's where the whole thing is ran. If you don't have a Facebook account, sorry, you can't participate. Like, the challenge is ran through a private Facebook group. I know some people say, well, I don't like Facebook, so I'm not going to do it. Well, if you can't sign up for a free Facebook account to participate in a free 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge, then sorry, I can't help you. Like, if that's outside your comfort zone and you're not willing to do that much, then keep doing what you're doing. Like, I'm offering a free virtual coaching program. Like, I'm extending the olive branch. If you're not willing to reach out and take it, then I can't help you. So if you want to follow along, then you got to head on over to Facebook, friend me up, And on it's one of the first posts there on my profile right now where I go into detail explaining how the whole challenge works. So yeah, I'll be talking more about it as it goes. But again, if it's something you're interested in, then just check that out. And in the meantime, let's get into this whole video chat thing. I know we got a lot of people joining in, so we got some questions coming through. Let's jump in and get this show underway. Robert's joining us. Says, I added a push sled to my workouts. Would once every other week be a good idea? A push sled to my workouts. I mean, I know what you mean by that, but like, as far as once every other week, I mean, that's not a lot. I mean, heck, you could do that quite frequently. Like, you could do that like maybe a few times a week. Like, it doesn't have to be every other week. And it depends on how much you're doing it and how hard you're pushing yourself. But something like that could be either used as, depending on how hard you go, could be a warm-up before your weight training. It could be a great finisher to do after your weight training. But that's something that you can do more frequently, like at least once a week, and maybe even several times a week if you want to throw it in like as a conditioning finisher to do at the end of your workouts. But something like that, Robert, it really depends on you, your goals, your workout routine. Like, there's so much more in the bigger picture. Like, I really need to know, like, what is it you're trying to achieve? What's your fitness level? Like all that kind of stuff. So it's hard for me to just kind of give a cookie cutter answer and say, oh, everybody should do push sleds every other week. Like, I don't know. It really needs to depend on you and your situation. But to talk about it, I mean, it's obviously a great addition and a great finisher and great for conditioning. Eagle Eye John's joining in. Welcome. No Autographs is joining in. John saying, I'm not keen on full body workouts twice a week. I like a once a week body part split. Like, if that works for you, you enjoy the body part split, then do a body part split. Like, don't get hung up on what every, like, you know, all the science guys on YouTube saying, well, according to the college study done on a dozen freshmen back in 2015, it's been scientifically proven that working your muscle groups and a push-pull legs is 10% better than doing a body part split or whatever. Like, do what works for you. Do what you enjoy. The best workout program is the one you'll follow, the one you enjoy. So if you don't like doing full body workouts, or you don't like doing split routines, or you like, do what you like. Seriously, like, don't get caught up in all the science-based crap and this and that. Like, focus on what you're actually going to do in the real world and what you enjoy. Me personally, I love total body workouts. That's what I've been doing for the past several years, is total body workouts, but I will vary them. It's not like I do the same thing every single time, but I like the idea of a total body workout 3 days a week because it allows me to hit all my major muscle groups frequently, and I'm not feeling overly sore or overly beat up at the end of a workout because I just do a little bit of stimulation for all my major muscle groups and I feel good the next day. Whereas if I go in there and I annihilate one body part, like it's chest day and I just do a shit ton of work for chest, or it's leg day and I just do a crap ton of work for legs, then you feel painfully sore. Like, how do people walk the day after leg day, right? They walk like they crapped their pants because it's so painful you can't even walk up the stairs or do anything. Like, I don't like feeling painfully sore the day after a workout. So what I do is I like to break it up and do total body workouts where I'm doing a little bit, maybe like one exercise for each major movement pattern or each major muscle group. And I'll do that. And then, the next workout, I might do a different exercise for each major muscle group and then just go through it. So I still get a lot of variety over the course of the week because I'm doing different exercises, but I'm getting a small training stimulus. So small, frequent training stimulus that I can stimulate, recover, and grow, stimulate, recover, grow. And I find that process to be much more enjoyable mentally, physically, and everything else. And the cool thing about it, if I do skip a day here and there because I get extra busy, then it doesn't really throw anything off because I'm still hitting all the major muscle groups frequently. Whereas when it comes to body part splits, with chest day, leg day, back day, arm day, whatever, unless you're in the gym pretty much every day, there's going to be big gaps between your muscle groups because of just the nature of the program. Everything is spaced out so far. Unless you're training pretty much like every day, there's going to be big gaps. And then if you do miss a few days, it can really prolong the gaps. So, you might end up like going a couple weeks before you hit the same muscle group again. And that's not necessarily optimal. But in the greater scheme of things, what works for you? What do you enjoy? And what are you going to stick to? That's what you need to ask yourself. Like, that's more important for your results than the scientific study done on a half a dozen freshmen in a controlled environment. Like, that has no impact on you, your lifestyle, and what you're actually going to do in the real world. That's what you need to look at. Jerry is joining in from the Philippines. Welcome, Jerry. So I guess this is tomorrow for you, meaning that you're in the future. That's right. And I hope the future is good. So this must be Saturday. I would assume Saturday in the Philippines, Friday in Canada, or in North America. Who else we got there? Dario saying, my dog is terminally ill and she won't be around much longer. Do you have any tips for working out while going through bereavement? I guess you mean grieving. Is that what it is? First off, I'm a dog lover and I've had dogs my whole life. And I know that when you lose a pet, you lose a dog, sometimes that's more emotional than losing a family member, because sometimes, I know this sounds selfish or whatever, but I've been closer to my dogs than I have been to some of my family members. And that's the truth, because you're with your dog all the time. You go walk with your dog's at your feet, you're with your dog all the time. Whereas sometimes your family members, like, you only see them occasionally, so we can get very close to dogs. So, I mean, I feel for you, man. I really do. I mean, I know what it's like, because I went through this just a few years ago with my dog Sasha. She was my best buddy, and she when she passed away, I mean, I felt that. So, yeah, I mean, that's pretty rough. But are you going to get another dog? Like, that's one thing you'd have to ask yourself. Like, are you mentally and physically ready for that? Or is this like a time to take a break from animals for a while? And there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to that, for sure. But I can definitely feel you for that. And as far as tips for working out, I think the workout is going to be the therapy in and of itself. Like, anytime you feel stressed or down or whatever, exercise is one of the best therapies that you can do. It really is. You're going to feel so much better about yourself, even if it's just getting outside for a walk, if it's going to the gym, if it's going for a bicycle ride. Like, exercise is one of the best forms of therapy you can do. So if you are feeling a bit down and depressed or whatever, like, you may not feel like doing it initially, but if you can kind of like just almost like force yourself to do it, after it's done, you're going to feel so much better afterwards. And I can relate to that in a lot of situations. Like, there's been numerous times when I was like, I don't feel like going to the gym today, blah, 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 but I just did it anyway. And afterwards, I was so grateful that I did. So I think you're going to have to kind of go through that yourself. We got Garrett joining in, who's brand new to the chats. Welcome, Garrett. Glad to have you tuning in. Sean's got a question asking about progressive overload is the biggest factor for strength and hypertrophy. What if you can beat your first 3 sets from the previous week because you're fresh, but after that you can't because of fatigue? All right, I see what you're saying there. And that progressive overload, so let's just say you're doing different exercises for each muscle group. Like, I don't know, it's chest day and you're doing 3 different exercises for chest. Obviously, if you go all out on that first exercise, you're not going to have a lot of strength for the succeeding exercises afterwards. And that's kind of normal. That's to be expected. So how you would monitor your progressive overload, if you will, first off, the key exercises that you want to focus on, that you want to have the progressive overload in, I would do those early in the workout. And then the other exercises, probably like the isolation moves, don't be so hung up on the progressive overload. Instead, focus on working the muscle. So let's just take chest, for example. Now, I'll give you a classic chest workout here. Positions of flexion, right? So let's just say we're doing positions of flexion, which basically means you're going to work your muscle group through mid-range, fully stretched, peak contraction. And so mid-range will be a bench press. So when you're doing a bench press, that's your mid-range compound pressing move. How you know it's mid-range is, one, it's generally a compound exercise. You can handle a lot of weight with it. And the way it works is you can lock it out at the top, but there's not a full stretch in the bottom, right? So that's mid-range. All the tension is in the middle range of the motion, range of motion in the mid-range. Fully stretched would be a fly. So you're doing a chest fly, right? You're doing chest flies. When your arms are extended all the way out, your chest is fully stretched. That's when all the tension is. But when you come to the top, you can lock it out at the top. And there's not a lot of tension at the top of a fly. So you're doing dumbbell flies. you don't feel it at the top, but you feel the deep stretch in the bottom, right? That's the fully stretched. And then the opposite of that would be like a pec deck fly, where you have to fight to hold those handles together, or the butterfly attachment, the same idea, but you have to fight to hold the peak contraction, but you don't really get a lot in the mid-range or in the fully stretched positions. So mid-range, fully stretched, peak contraction. What I would do for progressive overload purposes, the one that you want to focus on strength gains would be the mid-range compound exercise. So in this case, it would be the bench press. That would be the one you want to see the numbers increase. You want to like get an extra rep, add an extra 5 pounds or whatever. You want to try to make some progress in that one. Then for the isolation exercises afterwards, the stretch and the peak contraction, go through the motions. Like, don't be so hung up on if you don't hit personal records or whatever. Like, just make sure that you actually feel the muscle working, feel it stretching, feel it contracting, getting a good pump, actually getting that mind muscle connection, feel the muscle working. But don't get so hung up on like, oh shoot, I did 12 reps last day and I only got 11 today. Oh, no. Like, who cares? As long as you got a good workout, you got a good pump, you felt the chest, that's all that matters. The main exercise that you want to use for like monitoring your strength gains, that's the first one, because as you continue to do exercises, fatigue is going to play a role. And sometimes if you're using like trying to judge your strength in the later exercises, I mean, if you went easier in the first exercises, obviously you're going to be stronger in the later ones because you didn't go all out. You still have some energy in reserve. But if you go all out early, then you're not going to have as much strength in the later ones. So don't get hung up on the later sets, if you will, the later exercises. Focus on the strength gains in the first exercise. That's the one that you want to focus on, progressive overload. And then the other ones, mind muscle connection, feeling the muscles working, and do it that way. So hopefully that makes sense. But if it doesn't, feel free to elaborate down in the comments below or reach out to me through email and we can chat about it. But hopefully that makes sense, what I just explained. Vile is joining in, or Vil, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. Says, I'm doing push-pull leg split while training for a marathon. I'm having trouble balancing leg training and running long distances every 5 days. How would you go about balancing leg training and running? You got to scale back your leg training in the gym if you're doing a lot of running. It's as simple as that. Like, you can't go pushing yourself as hard. Especially if you're in the phases of running where you're doing a lot of volume. If you're putting in the miles every week, pounding the pavement and putting in a lot of miles, you're going to have to scale back somewhere. You can't burn the candle at both ends. Like, you can't be going maxing out with heavy leg training in the gym and then maxing out with lots of miles of running. There has to be some balance there. So if you're doing more running, you have to scale back the weight training. If you're doing more weight training, you have to scale back the running. Like, you can't increase both, right? You have to factor it in. Like, think of it like this. We have 100% recovery. It doesn't mean we have 100% recovery for weight training and 100% recovery for marathon running. We have 100% total. So you can go like half in on the weight training and half in on the running, or you can go all in on the weight training and nothing in the running, or all in on the running and nothing in on the weight training. But like, you have to have that balance. So the more running you do, the less weight training. For the legs anyway, especially to overcompensate. But even in your other body parts, you'll probably have to scale it back. So it's a balancing act. And it really comes down to listening to your body and getting in tune with what is your personal threshold? Like, how much can you physically take? And this is going to vary from person to person. We all have different levels of fitness, different levels of work capacity and all that. Like, some people have amazing levels of endurance and work capacity, and they can handle high volume training. Other people have very low tolerances for work capacity, and they have to factor in more recovery. So that's something you're going to have to modify for yourself. But obviously, if you're having trouble, scale back down. Like, scale back down, especially with the weight training, and prioritize the marathon. Now, once the marathon is over, then you can reverse it. If you want to then prioritize the weight training and scale back on the running, you can do that. And that's totally cool, right? You don't always have to go 100% balls to the wall with weight training, right? You can do other forms of exercise, especially if you enjoy it. I mean, I do that sometimes with cycling. Like, I love, like last summer especially, I did a lot of cycling, and I scaled back my weight training and I bumped up the volume of cycling, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Loved it. It was a lot of fun, and it actually worked out great for whiles while COVID was having everything locked down and never had access to the gym. I mean, it worked out great in that sense, but you can't go all out in everything, right? Like, you can't, you just have to factor in what's your priority right now and focus on that while scaling back the others to maintenance. Jeff saying he highly recommends the Lose Your Gut Challenge. Thanks, Jeff. And again, if you haven't checked that out, the interview myself and Jeff did, just head on over to my main YouTube channel, and right there's a playlist of the Muscle After 40 success stories, and Jeff is in there as one of the success stories for full video interviews of guys who've gone through the Muscle After 40 program, gone through the Lose Your Gut Challenge, and have achieved some amazing results as a result. Who else we have? John is saying, is 1,300 calories too low? I'm feeling full as a bull on it. I'm 144 pounds. That depends on you. It depends on you. Like, when it comes to judging your calorie intake, like there's all kinds of these calorie calculator formulas where you put in your age, your height, your weight, and your activity level, and it spits out saying you need to eat X number of calories based on your age, your height, your weight, and blah, blah, blah. It's an educated guess. That's all it is. It's a ballpark. It's a shot in the dark, educated guess of where you should be. But how you know your ideal calorie intake, or whether you're in a calorie surplus, whether you're in a deficit, whether you're at maintenance, is you monitor your actual body weight. If you're eating, like in your case, you're saying you're eating 1,300 calories. Okay, so average 1,300 calories for the week. At the end of the week, weigh yourself, and if your body weight is the same, then you're at maintenance. If your body weight's less, then you're in a deficit. If your body weight's more, then you're in a surplus. That's how you judge. Simple as that, right? You can't go by the formula and say, oh, the formula says I'm in a surplus, or the formula says I'm in a deficit. You go by your actual results. And what I like to do is I weigh myself every single morning, first thing after I get up and I do my pee. And before I drink or eat anything, I'll jump on the scale and weigh myself. And I just use that as my benchmark to see how my body weight is fluctuating. And it will fluctuate, right? Depending on how much I ate or drank the day before, how much exercise I did or whatever, you're going to see some fluctuations, but you're going to see a trend. And what I want you to do is just weigh yourself. So, if you're 144 pounds a day and you're 145 tomorrow and you're 143 the next day and you're whatever, like just write it down and then average it out for the week. So then you can take, your 7 daily weigh-ins, average them out to get your average weight for the week, and use that as your benchmark to determine whether your weight is going up or down or staying the same. And that's how you'll determine if you're in a calorie surplus, maintenance, or deficit, is based on your body weight change. And that's real numbers. That's how you know for sure. That's more accurate than any online calculator, blah, blah, blah out there, is how your weight is actually changing in the real world. So that's how you determine it. And you adjust it based on your goal. If your goal is to gain, then make sure that it's going up ever so slightly. If your goal is to lose, then make sure it's going down ever so slightly. If your goal is a body recomposition, then you want it to stay somewhere in the middle and stay the same. All right. Moving on. Actually, guys, I just have to run for a second. My dog is scratching at the door. I got to let her out to go do her pee. So I'll just be back in a second. Here, Sally. Come on. Back again. All right. Don't want the dog to piss on the floor. So she scratches at the door. I'm letting her out. Countryman, what do you think about 3 sets of 12 while working out? That's a great place to start. If you're brand new to working out, then 3 sets of 12 is a good place to start. But to elaborate on that, all sets and rep patterns have their pros and cons, and it really depends on what it is you're training for, your fitness level, all that. But again, for someone who's starting off, the whole idea of 3 sets of 10 or 3 sets of 12 or whatever, that's a good place to start. And how I would recommend you go about it: your first set, go light. Just go through the motions. Easy warm-up set. Get used to the exercise. Second set, go a little bit heavier. The third set, go a little bit heavier again. And as long as you get all your sets and reps and you feel good about it, then the next time you do it, you can increase the weight a little bit. Increase the weight by 5 pounds. And just go through that type of motion. Light, medium, heavy for your sets. And this is relative. What's heavy and light is relative to the individual. So what's heavy and light for you? But focus on going through the motions, going through the exercises, and using proper form, and mastering the exercise technique. Don't get hung up on always trying to lift heavier weight or anything else until you get the technique mastered. Like, learn proper workout exercise form and all that stuff first, and then increase the weight over time. Like, don't be in such a big hurry to increase the weight. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of guys do is the ego gets caught up. Like, they want to be lifting and keeping up with everybody else in the gym. Like, forget what everybody else is lifting and you focus on yourself. And but that's fine. 3 sets of 12 is a great place to start. Garrett's saying, I recently got back into the gym. I worked hard pretty much every day for 3 weeks, then kind of plateaued. How do I keep gaining and getting bigger? I feel stuck. 3 weeks. Like, 3 weeks. Like, you haven't hit a plateau after 3 weeks. Like, that's no, dude. Like, just keep going. Keep going. 3 weeks is you're just getting started. I mean, I know it feels like that because when you start doing anything new, I mean, it's all brand new stimulation, and okay, you're going to feel like, as they say, you're going to feel muscles working that I never knew I had. But like, your body is just going through the whole adapt grow phase. Like, it takes longer than 3 weeks for you to truly hit a plateau, unless you're like super advanced and you're like pushing your limits for something. But most people can stick out. Like, it's going to take months before you truly hit a plateau, assuming you're doing everything right, consistent with your training, consistent with your nutrition, consistent with your lifestyle choices and all that stuff. Just keep pushing forward. Like, seriously, man, after 3 weeks, that's not long enough to hit any major plateau. And one thing you'll notice, and this is a conversation I have a lot with the guys in the Muscle After 40 blueprint, is you may like you feel like I'm doing everything right. Like, I'm working out consistently. I'm eating consistently. Like, everything's going according to plan. Why am I not seeing changes? Like, I've been weighing myself every day and the weight is the same. The weight's the same. And you probably go a week or two and like nothing changed. And then it just seems like out of the blue, you might just drop a few pounds. Or if your goal is to gain, you might gain a few. Like, it's weird how the body works. Like, I've seen this happen myself and you know, some of the guys I know who are Jeff, I know he mentioned this because he actually shared it on our group there the other day. You could be stuck in what you think is a short-term plateau. Like, you're doing everything right. It's like nothing's happening. And all of a sudden, boom, like then you just make this new personal best. And then you may see some small progress, and then you might hit another little short-term plateau where it seems like a week or two goes by, nothing's happening. Then all of a sudden, boom, then you see another spike. It's not always linear. Like, if you were to track your progress, whether it's strength gains or fat loss or muscle gains or whatever, if you were to track it on a graph, it's going to look like the stock market. It's going to be ups and downs all the time. But we're looking at the overall trend. Like, where is it headed? Not getting screwed up and distracted by the little day-to-day fluctuations. Look at the overall trend. And that's where a lot of people go wrong, is because if they see a little spike or dip or whatever, then they're like, oh no, everything's gone to shit, and they start to freak out over the little fluctuations. It's like, you know, if an investor, like, as soon as there's a little blip on the stock market, they're like, oh my God, I got to sell. And then as soon as it goes down, oh, I got to buy. And like, no, look at the long-term trend. Don't go getting your panties in a knot over the little spikes and dips along the way. You got to look at the long-term trend. All right, moving on. What's the cost of a personal trainer? That depends. That really depends. You could go to the YMCA and probably get someone who just got certified last week, and you might pay him minimum wage. That's how I started 20 plus years ago. Seriously, that's what I did back in, when was it? I think it was around year 2000 or somewhere around there. That's what I was doing. I was a strength and conditioning coach at the YMCA in St. John's, and I was minimum wage, right? A strength and conditioning coach. That's how I started off. So, I mean, you might be able, I think it was $10 an hour. I think that's what it was. Now, I'm not sure if that was minimum wage back then or if that's just what they charged, the trainers charge. But so that's what I was doing back then. And that's probably what you could get. Like, that's the bottom of the barrel. Someone who like literally just got certified last week type thing. Someone who's starting off totally green rookie. Now, is that bad? I mean, it's not bad, because still they can help teach you how to use the exercise equipment and show you around the gym and all that stuff. So, I mean, you can still get benefit from it. But if you want an experienced coach, someone who has years and years of experience and who knows training, it's obviously going to cost a lot more, and it depends on what it is you're looking for. I know some gyms, trainers, $100 an hour or more. It depends on the gym, depends on the trainer, depends on the situation. So that, it depends. It's like saying how much is a car? Depends. What kind of car are you buying? Right? Is it brand new? Is it used? Right? Is it a luxury car? Is it an economy car? Like, what is it? Is it a sports car? Is it a blah blah? Right? It depends. So saying how much is a personal trainer is like how much is a car? How long is a piece of string? It depends. But with that being said, if you want any help with training, nutrition, and strategies and stuff like that, feel free to send me an email. Like, we can brainstorm some ideas and action plans if you want to discuss it, whether you want to talk about, finding a trainer at the gym, or if you want help with a customized nutrition program, like, reach out to me. You can send me a private email, or you can book in for a strategy session call with me, and we can have a chat and discuss your situation and see what would be the best option for you. All right, Countryman is saying, Thomas Terrell, and I'm down 37 pounds this year. I've been watching your video since January. Way to go, Thomas, aka Countryman. That is impressive. Good for you. If I had a hat, I would tip it to you. That's awesome. It says, I would like to be in the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge. All right, if you want to be in the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge, one, you have to have a Facebook account. So if you are and you're friends with me on Facebook, you can message me through there. That would be the easiest way. If we're not currently friends on Facebook, then send me a friend request. Or if you want, just send me an email, leeh@leehayward.com, and I'll send you the details. Like, I'll let you know. But I'm planning on launching it next weekend, right? Just to give you a heads up. So I'm planning on doing it next weekend is when I want to launch the whole Lose Your Gut Challenge. Have Evelina says, man, Lee is ripped at the moment. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I am leaner than I've been in quite a while. I am currently in the process of getting ready for a bodybuilding show, which has gotten postponed. The show was supposedly supposed to be on June 26th, but it's postponed now till July 17th due to COVID. So COVID travel restrictions. It's like we're open here locally, but travel restrictions are not open. So the show has been postponed. So I really don't care. I mean, it's still a personal goal of mine, just to focus on getting as lean as I can and use it as an excuse to get lean and get in shape for summer. So I'm all cool with it. I don't care if it's like me setting the goal to get in shape and focus on fat loss was a personal goal. The bodybuilding show was kind of like a bonus to throw in there on top of it. It's just kind of a carrot on the end of the stick. But right, I'm doing this for my own personal reasons, not necessarily the first show. The show is the icing on the cake, the gravy, if you will. And hopefully it does go ahead. I mean, I would like to make a comeback. I haven't competed in 11 years since I've competed in bodybuilding, so it'd be cool to make a comeback and see how I stack up against the old timers in the masters category. What are your thoughts on the reverse glute ham raise? I think the glute ham raise is a great exercise. If you have access to those machines at your gym, by all means use them. I mean, there's a lot of them. Like I tell you some of my favorite ones. What ones? Reverse hyperextension. That's what I'm thinking about. The reverse hyperextension. I love that. If you have access to that at your gym, by all means, use it. As far as the glute ham raise, if you have a proper glute ham raise setup, that's a great one as well. That's a freaking hard exercise, though. I'll tell you, to do proper glute ham raises, that is a hard exercise. That's not something that, that's not a beginner exercise by any stretch. You got to be strong to do a proper glute ham raise. So if you're more advanced in your training, then by all means, you can do it. The reverse hyper, again, I love that one. I love hyperextensions as well for the lower back, but if you have the reverse one, it's cool because, again, it focuses more on where it's the opposite movement. It actually helps to open up the lower back, and it helps to actually is almost very therapeutic for the lower back. So anyone who has any lower back pain or stiffness, the reverse hyper is great for that. Only problem is it's not super common in a lot of gyms. In more advanced gyms it is, but in a lot of your typical mainstream fitness gyms or whatever, you're probably not going to see it. It's not as popular as like a bench press and a lat pull down and a cable crossover and a leg press, like all these standard machines. Reverse hyper is pretty advanced, and same with glute ham raises. You're not going to see that in most standard gyms, but if you do have access to them, by all means incorporate them in your workouts. Sam Jones says, I hated carbs before I was educated by you. I think it was probably a love-hate relationship because you love to eat them, but you hated getting fat from them. But it's not, you can't blame the carbs. You have to blame the bigger picture. It's a calorie surplus. It's not just carbohydrates. I personally eat carbs. I eat carbs every day, even when I'm training for fat loss. It's just eat the right ones and you make sure the calories are in check. Give me 1 minute, guys. The dog is scratching at the door. I gotta let her in. So she got her pee done. She's scratching at the door to come in. Hang on, Sally. I'm coming to get you. I'm running solo today. My wife and son are up at his grandmother's house. They're having a sleepover at Nanny's house, so that's why I'm here running solo and having to take care of the dog. Normally, my wife is the one who lets the dog in and out when I'm doing calls and chats and stuff like that. So that's why I'm running back and forth. All right, who else we got there? First Revenge joining in, saying, what's the difference between losing weight versus doing cardio versus just eating less? What's the difference between losing weight via doing cardio versus just eating less? It's basically the same if you are losing weight, because you're creating a calorie deficit. So the benefits of doing cardio and creating a more calorie expenditure and creating your calorie deficit through that is you're getting the fitness benefits of doing cardio. If you just eat less food, you're not getting any fitness benefits from it. Like, that's not improving your endurance. That's not improving your stamina. It's not strengthening your heart. Like, just starving yourself doesn't give you any fitness benefits. But if you increase your exercise, you're doing cardio, and then you're improving your endurance and your stamina and heart health and all that stuff. I mean, and not only physically, but it's mental health as well. Like, cardio, it's like active meditation. Like, if you can get outside for a walk or get outside for a bicycle ride or get outside for a run or whatever your cardio of choice is, I mean, it feels good. There's a reason why people who do cardio on a regular basis do cardio on a regular basis, because it feels good and it's healthy for you. And there's numerous health benefits, mentally, physically, all over. So I personally like to do a combination of both. I mean, increase your calorie expenditure, but also focus on quality nutrition and not just eating less, but eating better. So making better food choices, like less crap, more good stuff, right? More protein, more veggies, more healthy stuff, less crap, and then focus on cardio and weight training and all that to increase your calorie expenditure that way. So it's a combination of all. But to answer your question, the difference is there's no fitness benefits from just eating less. Big Joe saying you're looking younger. Well, that's good. I most people wouldn't say that, but I appreciate it. Thank you much. Emma Colway, can we have 2 tickets to the gun show? Can we have tickets to the gun show? There we go. What do you think about doing 3 sets of 12? I think I already answered that one. Maybe it was just a repeat question. I run 40 minutes on the elliptical 3 days a week, arms, chest, core, and back 3 days a week. Would you recommend this workout? Alternating cardio and weight training every other day. So like 3 days of cardio, 3 days of weight training, you're alternating them back and forth. That's awesome. Yeah, I personally do that myself. Like, I do weight training one day, cardio the next. Weight training one day, cardio the next. That's my standard program. I refer to it as my yin and yang training system, because you're alternating high intensity weight training and low intensity cardio. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, right? You're getting the intense energy and then the gentle energy, right? The high intensity and then the low intensity. That's what I do most of the time. Now, when I'm trying to kick up the fat burning a bit, I do daily cardio, and then I'll do weight training maybe 3 to 4 days a week. So I'll bump up the volume of my exercise in order to create a bigger calorie deficit. So ideally, if time permits, I'm doing cardio every day, even if it's just take the dog for a walk. Like, it doesn't have to be some crazy extreme, kill yourself run or 2-hour bike ride or anything like that. I mean, sometimes it was just take the dog for a 20-minute walk on my lunch break. Like, sometimes that's the daily cardio. But if I have more and I got more energy, like more time, that is, and I got more energy, then I will do longer cardio sessions. But ideally, my non-negotiable habit, I want to get some form of exercise every single day, whether that's cardio, weight training, or both. That's my non-negotiable habit. Who else we got there? Buff Canuck joining in. Thank you for your support. He says, Lee's bodybuilding again. This is like Rocky 6 or Michael Jordan coming out of retirement. Best of luck. Well, you're putting me in some high categories there, right? Like Rocky and Michael Jordan. But I do appreciate the support, man. Much appreciated. I have to mention, like, if I'm not sure if you were tuned in when I was mentioning this earlier, but the show has been postponed another month. So I got another month to get ready. So I'm kind of like, I'm still pushing forward, but I'm not pushing forward pedal to the metal. I'm pushing forward on cruise control, if you will, because I still want to slowly get leaner and take my weight down, because I have to make a height weight cutoff of 175 pounds. And I'm currently, my morning fasted low is somewhere around 181. So I got another 5 pounds or 6 pounds to drop just to make weight. If I weigh in lighter than that, that's cool as well. But I got at least 6 pounds to go. And I got, like a month and a half to do it. So I'm on track. I'm not stressing out over the timeline or nothing like that. I feel like I'm well on track for doing that. But again, thanks for the support again. Much appreciated. What else we got there? I lost my place. What's better for weight loss? 40 minutes on the elliptical or 20 minutes jogging on the track? It doesn't matter. Like, both are like, you can do elliptical, you can do jogging if you feel like jogging. I personally don't. I hate jogging. But all forms of cardio are effective, whether it's walking or cardio machines or cycling or swimming or running. Do what you enjoy. What you enjoy is what you're going to do the most of. That's what's going to work the best. I'm personally not a runner. I don't like running. Now, nothing against anybody who runs. If you love running and it's fun, it's enjoyable, and you whatever, do it. I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. I find when I run, I find it hard on my ankles. I find it hard on my knees. I get shin splints. Now, maybe it's because I just don't have good running technique. Maybe it's because I'm just too big and I haven't built up my conditioning for it or whatever. But I like low impact cardio. Walking, I love, right? Low impact. Cycling, I love because it's low impact. Cardio machines, like at the gym, whatever, stepper, rower, bike, elliptical, whatever. Like any cardio machines at the gym, I'll use them. And when I'm doing cardio at the gym, a little strategy, especially if you're doing longer cardio sessions, just don't do an hour on a single machine or 40 minutes on a machine or whatever. Break it up. Like if you're going to do 40 minutes, instead of doing 40 minutes on the elliptical, how about you do 10 minutes on the elliptical, 10 minutes on the stepper, 10 minutes on the bike, and 10 minutes on the rower? Like, you'll break it up so it's not as monotonous, but you're getting different movement patterns, and you don't get into that repetitive strain of doing the same thing over and over again. Because like if you do the same movement over and over again, sometimes you get those repetitive movement injuries where like your knees or your hips or your ankles or something start to hurt because you're doing the same thing over and over and over again. Whereas if you change it up, you get to hit the body from different positions. And I like that, especially if you can incorporate, say, like the stepper, which is lower body dominant, and then the rower, which is more upper body dominant. I mean, it's great to combine those two different forms of cardio because it's, you're basically hitting different muscle groups, different movement patterns. And I think it's better for your overall fitness. And so that's what I do myself. When I'm at the gym and you got multiple pieces of cardio to select, use them all, right? Use what you have available. So that's how I like to break it up. What else we got? Okay, scroll through. I'm getting close to the tea. Tea with Lee is almost gone. I actually had to clue it up because I'm invited out for dinner. We're invited up for dinner. What else we got? John is saying, can you tell if you have more slow fibers? They not as strong, so you won't be able to lift a lot once you've been training years. Unless you somehow can get a test done where they do a biopsy and say like what your muscle fiber type is and blah blah, you're not really going to know what your fiber makeup is, but you can kind of just guess based on what your body is better suited for. Like someone who's really good at long distance endurance sports, obviously they got more slow twitch fibers. Like you look at a marathon runner versus a sprinter. Like the sprinter is going to have more fast twitch muscle fibers. They're more explosive. They're more muscular because that's just, fast twitch muscle fibers. Someone who is better for endurance, they're going to have more slow twitch fibers. So you will see the genetic differences in people just based on and their tendencies. Like someone who is built for endurance, they're going to be that longer, leaner, and they're going to have a diesel engine, meaning they just got stamina and they can go. They can chug on for hours on end. I actually made a video presentation about this a while back, talking about the differences. And then you have someone who is more fast twitch fibers, more strength, more explosiveness, but they don't have the stamina, right? They're like firecrackers. Like they got a lot of power for a short term, but there's no stamina. And you got other people, like say there's a diesel engine. They don't have a lot of explosive power, but they can keep on chugging. And it's two totally different ends of the spectrum. And then, of course, most of us are somewhere in the middle, right? We're not super explosive, super big, or we're not super endurance. We're somewhere in the middle. And how can you tell? It's just what's your genetic strong points. Like you'll be able to just tell based on your own physical performance, your own preferences. Like, are you a sprinter or are you a marathon runner? Like what's your personal preference? Like, and you can even tell in the gym sometimes, like, maybe you like high reps and, you can just keep pumping out with high reps. Whereas other people, they hate high reps, but they can power up a lot of weight with low reps. So, I mean, those are ways that you can kind of tell what your body is suited towards. But as far as like the actual fiber makeup, unless you were somehow to get a test done, like I really don't know how you would do it. I've never had anything like that done before. So, and from practical point of view, it doesn't matter. Like you can tell from your own practical knowledge, like what you're better suited for, whether it's endurance or strength or power or whatnot. Garrett saying, thanks, Lee. I know it takes time. Thanks, Buff Canuck. Thanks. I'm a seasoned fitness guy, but I got into a real horrible car accident that broke both legs. Just got back into lifting. Ouch. Shit, man. That's painful. I feel sorry for you. Hopefully your recovery, man, ouch. Even just talking about that, it makes me cringe. But I hope you have a speedy recovery. You can actually get back into full mobility again. What else we got? John's talking about my dog taking a pee. Let's see what other questions we got. UT Crash saying, I can't gain muscle by doing home workouts. Well, it depends what you're doing. I'm going to be honest. Like, you can gain muscle regardless of what you do, as long as you have the basics. Like, I know guys who went through, like, this past year during COVID lockdown and have actually made some of their best gains ever by working out at home. And it really depends what you have available. But, I mean, I'll elaborate on that. I prefer gym workouts, but I can still make progress from home. And maybe that's what you're referring to. You're just... Again, I don't know if it's a question or a statement or what it is, but you just said I can't gain muscle by doing home workouts. It's harder because you have to rely on self-motivation and maybe you don't have the same exercise equipment, but you can make progress regardless of the situation. Heck, even if you're just doing body weight workouts, you can still make progress as long as you're consistent with it. I was going to ask you about reverse glute-ham raise for doing abs. It's from a Navy SEAL workout. You face upward to stretch to touch the floor and then flex to touch your toes. If you can do it and it doesn't bother your back, then do it. I know the exercise you're referring to. I mean, some people, like the old school guys, would refer to that as like the Roman chair sit-up. And that's a great exercise. It does engage the core to a huge degree. It's very intense, but some people find it hard on the back. So it really depends on you, your fitness level, your situation. If you can do the exercise and you enjoy it, it feels good, and it doesn't cause any aches, pains, or anything weird, do it. If you try that exercise and it's like, your body says no, the check engine light starts to flare, like you're getting aches and pains, or your back starts to lock up or whatever, then maybe it's not for you. And that's really an individual thing. But I know the exercise you're referring to. What else we got there? Chris Chris is saying, why does my question keep getting removed? What the F did I do wrong? I don't know. I think I went through all the questions. I'm not sure. If you have a question and it didn't get answered, post it again. If you're going to enter a bodybuilding contest, can you show us your best bodybuilding pose? My best pose, I'm still working on my pose. I got to be honest, my posing is rusty because I haven't done it in over 10 years. So I'm still working on my posing. But yeah, I'll share some of that. How do you get your front legs stronger? I'm assuming you mean your quadriceps. Focus on, first off, when you want to get, all right, we got to elaborate on that. When you say stronger, do you mean like physically stronger, or do you mean more developed, right? Because there's depends on the terms we're using. If we're talking from a bodybuilding point of view, when someone says I have a strong muscle group, it doesn't always mean that it's physically strong. It could mean that it's a well-developed muscle group. But if you're actually asking strong, like the strength in your legs doesn't always just come from the quads. It comes from everything. Like if you think of someone who's a strong squatter, they're going to have strong glutes, strong hips, strong hamstrings, strong back, strong core. Like it all comes into play. It's not just the quadriceps, even though a lot of people say, think of when you squat, you're working your quads, or when you leg press, you're working your quads. But the real strength often comes from all those muscles. Like the saying in powerlifting is a strong man is strong from the back, right? Because the back, the posterior chain, that's very often the root for where power is generated. So you'll see that. But if you're asking how to build the front of the legs stronger, as in to build them bigger and get more developed, then one thing that you definitely want to focus on, leg extensions is a great exercise for building up the quads. I know it's a bit of a controversial one, but like if you wanted to prioritize your quads, what I would do is I would pre-exhaust your quads first with leg extensions as the first exercise in your leg workouts, and then start doing like your leg presses and your squats and your lunges and whatever else, and you will get more muscle activation in the quads, and it'll help to prioritize them. Other things you want to focus on as well, making sure that you're using a full range of motion, or at least as full of a range of motion as you can for your body type. Like a lot of times people are doing half squats and partials and really short, shallow reps, and you're not getting full flexion into the knee joint. You're not getting full activation throughout the muscles of the quadriceps. So doing full squats, like you look at guys who have really big quads, they like Olympic lifters, for example, they do ass to the grass squats, and a lot of Olympic lifters have really well-developed quadriceps. So if you can do full squats where you're sinking all the way down, that will go a long way. But bottom line, I mean, you just need to train it consistently. Train them consistently. I mean, I would much rather you do shorter, more frequent workouts for stubborn body parts than the typical, like, train it once a week. So what I would do, if your legs are a weak area, prioritize them. Train them at least twice a week, and then put your stronger body parts on a maintenance phase of, say, like once a week. And if you just did that, prioritize the weaker muscle group, that's a great way to help bring up development in that area. Because again, you're putting more of your body's recovery resources to those stubborn areas and putting less towards the areas that are strong. Are diamond push-ups good? Yes, if you can do them, if they don't bother your wrists. I personally don't like them because that whole idea, I find it kills my wrists when I do the diamond push-up. So if the closest I will do a push-up is with my torso apart. Like literally, that's as close as I'll go. If I go doing the diamond push-ups, it just places a lot of excess strain on the wrist. So I don't like them personally, but if you find them okay and you can do them, then do them. It's really personal preference. But as far as development is concerned, you can still make great progress going wider with your hand spacing. That also applies to close grip bench press. Like you see some guys doing close grip bench press with their hands ridiculously close, and it just cocks the wrist at a weird angle and places a lot of excess strain. Just go a little wider, as in the width of your torso, and now the wrist joint is in alignment. You can actually lift more weight, feel more comfortable, less risk of screwing up your hands and your wrists. And so that's what I do personally. So I'm not a fan of going super narrow with your push-ups or super narrow with your bench presses or whatever. I really the closest I will go is the width of my torso. How does someone get certified as a fitness trainer? You sign up for a fitness certification course. Simple as that. There's a gazillion of them out there, right? If you're actually looking to become certified as a trainer and like to get a job at a local gym as a personal trainer, what I would recommend you do, go to the gym that you would like to work at, or the gyms that you would like to put in your resume to, and ask them, what certifications do you require your trainers to have? And they will tell you their recommended certifications. And then you will go and look into those certifications. Because like I just throw it out. Like here in Canada, one of the popular certifications is CanFit Pro. So if you're going to you want to work at the gym and they require a CanFit Pro certification, and you go off and you get some other certification instead, then that may not be what the gym requires. So to save yourself the hassle, talk to the gym that you're planning on becoming a trainer at and ask them, what certifications do you want your trainers to have? And they'll tell you. And maybe they don't care. Maybe they say, like, any of these are fine. And if that's the case, then just get one of whatever their list of recommended certifications are. But maybe they do have a certain one that they want you to have. And if that's the case, then that's the one you go get. But from a practical point of view, all the different certifications, it's the same thing. It's going to give you the basic knowledge. Like, it's going to tell you like the basic exercises and the basic stuff and how the muscles work and all this. Like, it'll give you the basic knowledge, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you need that stuff. But where you're going to get to be a good trainer is not from the certification course. It's all the practical years of training and experience and real world, results that you get after the certification. It's like learning to drive a car. Just because you went and you got your license, and technically now you're licensed to drive a car, that's not where you learn to drive a car. You learn to drive a car from years of real world experience on the road, right? That's where you actually learn. Like to get your license, that's like the first step to now starting to learn. The actual learning happens after you've already got the license. The same with the whole certified as a trainer. That's like step one. Okay, now you are a trainer. The real education starts now after you begin training people. That's where it becomes. And what you're going to find is it's not the sets, it's not the reps, it's not the exercises, it's not that. You're almost like a psychologist or something. Like you're more of a therapist than you are a trainer. Because I mean, like, the reason why people struggle with their fitness and fat loss isn't because they have the wrong set and rep pattern, or because they don't know the right exercise to do, or because they don't know the right food to eat. Like, for the most part, we all know what we should do. It's just we can't get ourselves to do it. Or we can't get ourselves to do it consistently enough. That's the reality. Like, if I put a piece of cake or an apple in front of you and I said, which is healthier? Like, is anybody going to question what's healthier? Of course not. Everybody knows the cake is not as good as the apple, right? Duh, we know that. But people still are going to choose the cake, right? Because it tastes good and the cravings and they have whatever. Same with the exercise. Like, everybody knows we should exercise regularly. Everyone knows we should eat right. But I mean, it goes beyond that. Like, you need to have systems in place to actually make it easier, or at least encourage people to start making those proper choices. And that's where coaching and training and all this comes into play. It's a mindset game. It's reprogramming your habits and your lifestyle choices. So you start to do the stuff that you already know you should be doing, but you do it automatically without conscious effort and willpower. And that's what we cover within the whole 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge, is like, how do you take all this stuff that you know you should be doing, but you're not doing, and how do you make it part of your lifestyle? That's what the whole 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge is all about. Which is what I mentioned at the early part of this video chat. So if you're just joining in now and you're like, what the heck is this 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge? Watch the replay when it's up, and then I'll tell you all about it. But that's where real training comes into play. It's not, getting the certification. Like, that's just getting your foot in the door. That's just step one, if you will. Like, the real task then comes after that. All right, what else we got? Lee, I suffered a traumatic brain injury about a year ago. I'm just wondering what exercises you recommend to stay somewhat fit. I have no idea, because I've never had a brain injury. I've never dealt with anybody who had a brain injury before. I really don't know what you are physically capable or not with brain injuries. I would recommend talking to your doctor on that one and see what you can and cannot do, because that is outside my area of expertise. Right? I'm not going to try and say, hey, do this when that could cause problems. I really don't know. That's something you're going to have to talk to a brain expert on, your doctor or brain surgeon or whoever, helped you with that whole traumatic injury. That's outside my area. What else we got? When doing push-ups, do you put your feet together, I spread mine about 6 to 8 inches apart. It's personal preference. It really doesn't make that much difference. If you like to have your feet a few inches apart and put your feet a few inches apart, like it's such a small detail. You're still going to, like, as far as the chest, shoulders, triceps, they're going to be working the same regardless if your feet are this way or this way. Like, it don't matter. It really doesn't. What else we got there? All right. Emma's saying, can we see your abs progress? You're putting me on the spot here. You're putting me on the spot. All right. And Andrewkin saying, hello, Lee. Love the videos. All right. Well, I'm going to clue up the video chat, and I'm going to show you an ab shot for good measures. Here we go. There's the abs right there. Now, that's the grand finale for the show. All right, guys, I have to clue it up because I am literally running late. I'm invited up to my mother's for dinner, and I said I can't go till I get my video chat done and my work done for the day. So I got my video chat done. I got my work done for the day, so I'm going to clue it up. Hopefully you enjoyed the video chat. I certainly enjoyed doing it. I always enjoy these chats, so I'm going to clue it up, and I'll be doing another one next Friday, same time, same place. But in the meantime, if you would like some help with getting on track with a fitness and nutrition and fat loss program, I'm doing another 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge. Going to be starting it next weekend. So if you want to come on board with that, then reach out to me. You can contact me through Facebook. Just do a search for Lee Hayward on Facebook. You should find me. If you're not friends on Facebook, then you can send me an email, leeh@leehayward.com. Send me an email and I'll send you the details. But just to give you a heads up, the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge happens on Facebook. We're going to set up a private group, invitation only, and it's a closed group for people who are just going through this challenge. And again, it's 5 days of virtual coaching, where there's going to be live video coaching, accountability tasks, meals, workouts, the whole shebang for 5 days. And the idea behind it is you're not going to lose your gut in 5 days, but you're going to get the tools, tactics, and strategies that you can then take and implement afterwards to then follow and lose your gut and build muscle and get in shape. And we've had a lot of guys who are actually part of this video chat today who've gone through it. So this is a 5-day virtual coaching program, the 5-day Lose Your Gut Challenge. It's totally free. It's going to be happening over on the Facebook page. So if you want to come on board with it, then reach out to me and I'll send you all the details. And we'll take it from there. All right. Hopefully you enjoyed the chat. I enjoyed doing it, and I will talk to you next week. Take care. Over and out.